Welcome all to 5 Minutes with Kerusso. I'm Whitney, and for this Friday, I would love to continue from a topic from my last Friday video, and I would love to continue speaking to those who have been hurt by the church, because sadly, that's a very prevalent trend that's happening right now, is people being hurt by the church and then leaving the church. Also, I only got to talk about half of my content, maybe, for my last video, so I'm just going to keep going. So first, I feel the need to differentiate between the church causing legitimate pain and trauma to someone, as opposed to the church causing discomfort to a person. Because the church is supposed to cause us discomfort. We're meant to be a little uncomfortable in church sometimes, because Jesus tells us that it's not an easy life. It is a life of self-sacrifice, and there is a higher standard that we are called to than what the world will ask of us. So if you're sitting in church and you're starting to sweat because you know that either you're not doing something right or there's something more that you could be doing, that's actually healthy. That's good. That lets you know the church is doing its job, because it's supposed to call you to something higher. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to get you to grow, because we can't let ourselves be stagnant. We have to be able to grow and become better in a church. But here's the thing. The church has also got to be able to grow as well, especially when it realizes that it's not doing something right. Like we saw in the 1960s, a lot of white evangelical churches either perpetuated or in some cases fully supported segregation, sometimes even as a biblical mandate. And that was extremely harmful, and that was wrong. And the church had to grow past that. It had to recognize we're not doing this right. We need to be able to grow with our people. Our people realize this is wrong. We need to get with it. So if you have been hurt by a church, legitimately hurt, and not just caused discomfort, but if you feel that your church is not growing with you where it needs to be, this is my hope for you. I hope that, first and foremost, more than anything, I hope that you heal. I hope that you are able to recover from whatever wrong was done to you by the church. And I'm sorry that it happened. I truly am. It should not have happened. And if you need time, if you need space from the church, take it. If walking into a building with a steeple is going to be a traumatic experience for you, don't do it. Nobody wants the church to be a negative experience for anybody. And I don't want anyone to miss out on the love of God because a person or a group of people did something wrong about being a church. But I do hope that if you can find peace with it, I hope you can find a way to come back and still find a way to interact with God's believers and be a part of his kingdom. And, that could happen by walking back into a building. It did for me. I was able to find a church that made space for women to have more of a role, and that brought a lot of healing into my life. I was able to find a church that adjusted its teachings to cause less harm and intentionally did that. Now, I also feel the need to differentiate that I'm not saying go find a church that's just going to let you get away with whatever you want to get away with. Like, we have a historical example of a king of England who wanted to divorce his wife, but the Catholic Church wouldn't let him. So what did he do? He went and made his own church that let him do it? No, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you can find a church that intentionally is trying to heal past hurts, that is possible. They exist. They're out there, and you can find them. You could also just engage with your community. If you don't want to walk into a building with other church members, you can find other church members and just engage with your neighborhood, with the community around you. And you can still do ministry in God's name and use that to connect with your faith. Or it might just be a couple people. And Jesus even tells us in Matthew 18:20, for where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them. So even if it's just like a little group of people in your home who believe the same way that you do and want to build you up and want to strengthen your connection with God, then that's good. And healing can come from that. And that's a good way to reconnect with other believers and reconnect with God. And I truly hope that you don't feel like you have to miss out on the love of God just because someone in the church was human and made a mistake. I hope that you can find healing. And if you ever need support, drop me a comment, send me a line, let me know. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you next time.